Good afternoon, Facebook friends and viewers. I'm Christine Taylor Lewis, and I thank you so much for joining us on behalf of the Afro-American Historical Association of Fauquier County to have this conversation with my new friend, Ms. Janice Tibbs. Now, Ms. Tibbs has written and published a book in the form of 2 short stories, and the book is called The Hollow, The Hill, The Mountain, and My Friend Dar. So we're here to discuss the book, to read some excerpts, and to answer questions that you might have. Also, Mrs. Tibbs would be delighted to take your orders for a signed copy. So just submit your questions in the comment section on your screen, and we'll try to answer them at some point during our conversation. And there'll also be information posted on the screen as to how you might order a signed copy from Mrs. Tibbs. So Ms. Tibbs,
Yes.
First of all, we at AAHA are just honored and delighted to have you here to talk to us about your most valuable book about growing up in Fauquier County, and particularly in Warrenton, in one of the oldest communities in Warrenton. So let's start with you telling us a little about yourself and the community in which you grew up.
I grew up in Shipmadilly, Warrenton, Virginia. It's out Spring Road,
Yeah.
and you turn right and you're in Shipmadilly. Now, Shipmadilly got its name, I was told. Some rich man that lived out Spring Road, horse got loose.
Okay.
And when they found him in Shipmadilly. Well, it wasn't called anything until they found that horse, so they started calling it Shipmadilly. I grew up in Shipmadilly. We had 16 families when I was growing up,
Oh my.
and about 20-some children.
Hmm.
We had a tight-knit community.
Yes.
We all got along. We danced, we sang, we played, we went to church, we went to Sunday school,
Yeah.
and we had fights too.
Of course.
But we had a great, wonderful community.
That's wonderful. So where did you go to school?
Rosenwald.
You went to Rosenwald Elementary?
So, when I come along, it was just Rosenwald.
Oh, that's
From
right.
the first grade to the 11th,
Okay.
I went to Rosenwald
Okay.
as a little kid and as a teenager,
Okay. So it was a combined elementary and high school. Day.
and all in between. We had that one building that had 9 rooms, as far as I remember,
Yeah.
and 400 children.
Wow.
It was between the railroad, the
Uh-huh.
highway,
Yeah.
and the county road with
That's
no
right.
fence.
That's right. So how did you get to school?
Walk
You walked? How far was it?
3 miles.
3 miles. You walked 6 miles a day for school.
Yeah,
That's marvelous. That's
3
marvelous.
miles. We
Yeah.
walked.
Yeah. So did you walk with your family, friends, or?
All of us, all the children in that community went to the same school.
Okay.
So we all walked together.
Okay. So Rosenwald School is on Madison Street.
Right.
So you walked from Shipmadilly down
To Madison.
past Culpeper Street all the way up to Madison Street.
When we get to the light
Yeah.
on Culpeper, we made a right and go down
Right,
go
yeah.
around the highway.
That's
I think it's 29 or 211 or
Wow,
something.
That's marvelous.
And we go, that's the way we walk to school.
That's amazing. I came up in Haytide
Okay.
and we walked to
Railroad
Rosenwald.
track, didn't you?
Yeah, we came up the railroad track. Sometimes we went around the road.
Right.
On the street.
But the
But-
thing is, the white kids had a bus.
Yeah.
You had to live 5 miles out to ride the bus.
Isn't that something?
And we were 3.
Yeah.
So we had to walk, rain or shine, snow or sleet. We
Wow.
were like the mailman. We went to school.
That's marvelous. So let's talk a little bit about when you moved away. What gave you the inspiration to leave from Warrenton, or how did that happen?
My grandparents raised us. My grandparents died.
Okay.
Both of them died. I didn't go immediately. I worked on a job in Bethel, up on Vance Mountain, for a lady named Miss Dunham.
Okay.
And then I was tired of that kind of work. And, I told Miss Dunham, and she got me a job in DC
That's marvelous.
and gave me luggage to go.
Isn't that
And I
beautiful?
lived with the Dunham family, no, Graham family. and took care of the 3 children.
That's beautiful. So you were a young woman then?
Well, not too young, but I think I was like maybe 19.
Yeah, that's young enough. That's
Mhm.
beautiful. That's
Mhm.
beautiful. So there weren't that many other opportunities in Warrenton.
Wasn't any hardly, only domestic work in the laundry
Yes, yes.
and maybe a cleaners, I don't know.
Right. That's what it was with me a few years later. The
Uh-huh.
opportunities weren't there and I went to Michigan. So we were
Yeah.
part of the Great Migration
There you go.
of African Americans.
Yeah, I just read a book on that.
Yes, yes. It's a very good book that Isabel Wilkerson wrote.
Okay.
Yes, and it's called The Warmth of
Another Son. Or
Yes,
something.
yes.
Beautiful book. I was
Yeah.
part of that.
That's one that I was too. I was on the tail end. So we part of history, of course. So did you have to make any kind of adjustments internally or within
In the city?
in terms of going from the country to the city?
Oh, yeah.
Yeah.
First of all, I had to get used to the lights, especially at night.
Bright lights.
I've been in the dark going to sleep.
Yeah.
Had to get used to the lights. Had to get used to the bathrooms,
Yeah.
the running water.
Yeah, all that good
Had
stuff.
to get used to the stoves, and
Yeah.
I had to get used to the lights, street lights,
Yeah, right.
and the streetcar. Had to
Yeah.
get used to that,
Yeah.
and
that's
the
gotta be-
traffic.
Yeah.
And I had a habit all my life. I speak to everybody I saw. I had to get, you can't do that in the city. I would say, good morning, good evening. No answer, so I stopped. I
Yeah.
finally learned.
Yeah, I understand. That was a real culture shock for me as well.
Yeah.
So your book has 2 short stories,
Mm-hmm.
The Hollow of the Hill and the Mountain, and then the story of My Friend
Mm-hmm.
Dar. So what inspired you to write these 2 stories?
First of all, I've always thought from time to time about my grandmother's life. She would tell us and talk to us and tell us things, and I always remembered it.
Yeah.
So after I retired, and I was sitting around the house, I said, I'm gonna try putting that on paper.
That's beautiful.
And I did. She was just an amazing person to have survived the things she did.
Yes.
And Dar was my neighbor.
Mm-hmm.
Dar had challenges,
Oh.
and there was nothing in place to help her.
Yes.
And so I put it in the book so that if people have children or grandchildren, nieces or nephews
Yeah.
that have challenges in their
Yeah.
life, get them some help.
Yes.
Because nowadays there's plenty of help. But when
That's
I
right.
came along, no help.
Yes.
Sweetest person you ever want to meet, but
Mhm.
just had challenges.
Yes. Yes. And you mentioned your grandmother.
Oh, I love my grandmother.
So what time period did she live in?
My grandmother was born in 1869,
Wow.
and she died in 1945.
Okay.
I was 13 years old,
Mm.
and she had like problem after problem after problem, but she was a survivor.
Yes.
One thing, she always kept her faith strong.
Yes.
She was loving, she was kind to people,
Mhm.
and the Lord just blessed her.
That's beautiful. That's beautiful. So she was a real inspiration, I'm
Oh,
sure.
yes.
Yes. And it's good that you
To the
knew her.
neighbors and to everybody she came in touch with.
That's wonderful. So the title, The Hollow, the Hill, the Mountain, does that remind you of where you lived when you were coming up, or where you
Now,
grandmother
all of
was?
these are places that she lived, the hollow, the hill, and she
Okay.
lived on the mountains.
Okay.
She was born on the mountain.
Okay.
This mountain on the book represents Christ
Oh.
and his abode.
Oh my.
I'm going to heaven one day, so I'm
Yes.
going to really be on the mountain.
Right on the mountaintop.
Now, she lived in the hollow and she lived on a hill. So she was born in the mountains.
Yeah.
Then she lived in a hollow, which is below mountains. I call
Right.
it the
Yeah.
valley.
Right. It's right in
And
the valley.
then she was going to a mountain.
That's beautiful. That's a beautiful way to
So
say it.
as a songwriter said, go rest high on that mountain.
Go high on the mountain.
High on the
Yeah.
mountain.
See the mountaintop.
Yeah, Lord.
But for me, having grown up in Warrenton, and as I look at the cover of this book,
Mm-hmm.
and I see the Blue Ridge Mountains on the horizon, and I see what looks like farmland, and
Mm-hmm.
it stretches up to a cliff, and on this cliff is this huge boulder, this huge rock.
Okay, let them see.
This huge rock, if you can see it.
Yeah.
So tell us about this rock and what significance it has
Okay.
to the stories.
Everywhere my grandmother lived, even from a little child, she, rocks are everywhere in Virginia, big ones. She always found a rock. You might say this, you may have a blanket and say, this is my prayer cloth.
That's right.
My grandmother had a rock as her prayer cloth.
Yeah.
She would go and sit on her rock and tell the Lord her stories, and he would answer her prayers there. Everywhere she went, she found a large rock.
That's beautiful.
That she sat on and prayed.
That's beautiful. So she would go to the rock.
Go to the rock. And who's the rock? Jesus is the rock.
Yeah. She'd go to the rock.
And sit on the rock and talk to the rock.
Yeah.
All
Answer
right, come
her
on.
questions. Well, let's read a little from the
All right.
from the book. If you want to pull up something related to
My grandmother?
yes, you have those pages.
It said, by the age of 10, Mama would go to work for rich folks, making beds, sweeping floors, washing and ironing. All the pay was given to Grandma, her mother, to help with expenses. I don't think she got 1 cent of that money. It seems unfair, but that's the way it was back then. These were tough but happy times for the family. Mama used to go sit on this big rock she called her mountaintop.
Yeah.
There she would sit and dream of faraway places, not only pray, but dream of faraway places.
Yes.
But it was all to come to an end too soon.
So you have another section there.
Yes. So Mama learned to pray at an early age. I mean, travailing in prayer. That means sincerely,
that's right,
faithfully in prayer. Now, when she could get to daydream about her mountain, she would go in prayer. It would take her beyond circumstances to another mountain. This mountain was in the presence of Almighty God.
Yes.
She would sing, shine on me, shine on me. Let the light from the lighthouse shine on me. This song always lifted her spirit so she could make it through another day.
Yes. So that goes back and confirms what you said about, it adds to what you said about her going to the rock.
Yeah.
And that's what she got.
The rock was her prayer cloth.
And that was her strength.
That was her strength.
So would you say that she was one of the people who impressed you most? You had the attributes that would impress you?
Oh, yeah. She was loving, kind, helpful, ambitious, dedicated, and a hard worker.
Yes.
She would feed everybody come by like they was hungry. Come on, get something to eat.
Yeah.
But she was just that type of person. And she always had a smile. She had a pleasant face. Like you got a pleasant face. She had a pleasant face, and that will, if you just smile at a person sometime, will encourage them.
That's true. That's true. It sounds like she was a strong woman.
Oh, she was strong there.
The period in which she
lived. Yes, she was strong.
And all the obstacles that were there for her. And to raise a family. And
she had 8 children. She said she lost 6. So see how many children she had? 8 lived though.
Wow. So I'm wondering if there are any questions that anyone has from the audience. Let me see. So we'll get some comments. We'll talk about Dar. Let's see what questions there are. Yeah. Okay. So not any questions yet.
Okay.
Okay, so we don't have any questions yet, but what was it that encouraged you to write the story about Dar? You said earlier that she had
challenges, but she was the most pleasant, happy-go-lucky person. She was like smiling and always ready to help and laugh and joke and play. But she was just a nice person. And I wrote this about Dar so that whoever reads it and has a person that's challenging,
Mm-hmm.
that has challenges, do something about it. Don't just sweep it under the rug.
That's right.
Don't just ignore it.
That's right.
Accept it and do
Yes.
something about it, because there's so many things in place nowadays
Yes.
that can help.
That's right.
And even in the schools,
Mhm.
they have special teachers
That's right.
that can help children that don't keep up with the rest of the class.
Mhm.
Make sure you get help for your nieces, nephews, grandchildren, children,
That's
whoever
right.
needs it.
That's right.
Don't just say, oh well, oh well.
Yeah.
We too many wells. Let's
That's
stop
true.
digging wells and do something about it.
Yes. And probably a part of the problem back then was that
They
Yeah.
had no facilities.
right.
There was nothing in place to help.
Yeah, that wasn't anything
So she
together.
finally just dropped out of school.
Mm.
She was, wasn't getting it. So
Yeah.
there was nothing in place.
Yeah.
I don't think there was anything in place in the white schools either.
Yeah. So people had issues like that.
Yeah.
Yeah. Often they sent them away to places like
Put them in
Petersburg.
insane asylums.
Yeah.
Because I had a neighbor, his name was, I won't call his name, but he had challenges, and they put him in an insane asylum. And I thought that was terrible,
Yeah.
because he wasn't that bad,
He wasn't insane,
No.
but he did need some
He had to
help.
need some help.
He had
That's all he
special
needed.
needs that
Special needs. He
should have
needed
been
some
taken
help.
care of.
Mm-hmm.
So Dar, apparently from the book, she did grow and develop into a
Oh
fine young
yeah,
woman.
she did. She had struggles after struggles after struggle, but she grew, and when she got married late in life, which she was, I think, was in her 40s or something.
Mhm.
God really gave her a nice husband.
That's
He was
beautiful.
handicapped. He was in a wheelchair,
Mhm.
but he took good care of her,
Oh, that's
and she
wonderful.
was finally happy
Good.
uh-huh,
That's beautiful.
in her later years.
Yeah. So she was able to enjoy life,
Yes,
and even though she had challenges, and there
Yes.
weren't things in place for her,
yes.
then she had a special gift within.
Oh, yeah. Now, one thing, she was a dynamite cook.
Ah.
Oh,
Mm.
you talking about a pie and cake? Uh-oh.
Mm.
She could fry chicken.
Mm.
Ooh.
Wow.
She was a dynamite. She really was.
Yeah.
She was good. She was a nice person. She could dance. She could sing. She could do a lot of things,
Mhm. Yeah. I have an excerpt from
Okay.
the book
All right.
that
Talks about her.
starts the story of her.
Okay.
My friend Dar.
Okay.
Here you say, Dar?
Da, I almost hear you saying, Da,
Mm.
where is or who is Da?
Mm-hmm.
Well, Da is the name of a young lady that I grew up with. We were born the same year, 1932, in the same community,
Mm-hmm.
in the same county of Virginia. We were born 5 months apart and lived within walking distance of each other.
So, because you lived that close together and you were born that close
Same
together.
year.
Yeah. So then your friendship developed very, very early. then.
Oh, yes, yes. I think we were toddlers together.
You were toddlers together.
Uh-huh.
And so she's always been a close friend.
Always been a close friend.
Would you say she was closer than some of the other friends that you had?
Yes, yes. She was pretty close. Because most of with my age in the community
Mm-hmm.
was a few girls. Most of them were boys.
Okay.
So, and then the girls were like 1 year older, 2 year older,
Yeah.
2 years younger.
Right.
She and I were the same age
Mhm.
and almost the same size.
Yeah. So you probably palled around a lot.
Oh, we
together.
did, we
That's
did.
so beautiful. That's
We
beautiful.
never, as I remember, never had an argument.
Mm.
Now, we had fights in the community. I was in a few of them,
Yeah.
but not with her.
Yeah.
No.
That's a wonderful thing. Did she go to school?
Yeah, she went to Rosenwald.
Oh, she went to Rosenwald too?
And then after so many years, she just stopped going because it was a challenge for her trying to keep up with the classes and stuff.
Yes, that's beautiful. So how long did you remain? Did you remain friends when you moved to DC?
Yeah,
Yeah.
I didn't see her as much
Mhm.
because, we were both working all the time. But
Right.
I saw her
Yeah.
and we were still friends.
That's beautiful. Did you say she had children?
She had two boys,
2 boys.
2 sons.
Oh. So are they with us now? Or?
No.
Yeah.
One He one got into drugs.
Mm.
The other one was an alcoholic.
Oh.
I went to see both of them before they died.
Oh, that's beautiful.
I went with her. I took her. We went to see the youngest one. Then he died. Then the oldest one died.
Mm.
Nice looking boys.
Mm.
Nice boys. It was so sad.
So did they have children to share the legacy?
She had one daughter.
Oh, good.
Granddaughter.
Good.
One
Yeah.
granddaughter.
Yeah. So
Mhm.
the spirit of Dar still lives on.
Lives on.
That's beautiful. That's beautiful. Check to see if there are any other questions. I don't see any questions. So let's talk to you about being an author.
These stories have been in my head for years.
Mm.
So when I retired, I wasn't doing anything. I said, you know what? I think I'll start putting this on paper.
Yes, that's so
I
good.
can't type 10 words a minute, but I said, I'm going to put this on paper. And I did.
Yeah,
So it didn't take me that long, really.
yeah. So how would you say it?
About a week.
Get out of here. Really?
Yeah, because I wasn't doing anything. You know, I was retired.
And you had all those memories built up.
All of these was always around my head somewhere.
Yeah.
Because I would see things to remind me
Yes. Of what it was like.
what it was like back in the day.
Right.
So it was easy.
Yeah. So when you were in DC, did you return to Shipmondale or
No.
you just stayed,
No.
I mean, back to visit or anything like that? Did you
Oh,
ever go
sure.
back?
I'd go back and visit them very often when my aunt was living. Then after most of my family died or moved away,
Yeah.
I didn't go as much.
Yeah. Yeah. I was thinking maybe when you go back there, then that would jar some memories as well.
Oh, yeah.
And just store it up.
All you got to do is go down to Shipmondale Lane and group.
That's like me, go down
All
there.
that memories.
So that's why we had this marvelous book. The Hill, the Hollow, the Hill, the Mountain, and My Friend Dar. And if anyone is interested in purchasing this book, you have a pen handy, call 301-873-0931. That's 301-873-0931. And Ms. Tibbs would be delighted to send you an autographed copy.
Yes.
So did you find while you were writing anything in particular that was a little more challenging to write about?
Well,
Yeah.
I think the death of my grandmother kind of brought back a lot of memories.
Yeah.
But then again, I thought about what she said. We had come in from school and we were having dinner with my grandmother. And she had 4 children, she raised us. We were sitting there, she said, I got something to tell you. We said, what is it, Mom? She said, before the week is out, I'll be gone. So we kept saying, gone, where? Where you going? Sunday morning, the 4 days she was gone. She knew.
So
I guess the Lord told her.
Had she been sick or anything like that? Do you know?
No. When the doctor got there on that Saturday night, he said she had pneumonia, but we don't know. But she just died within that week, like she said.
So when was this? What year was this? You remember?
1945.
Wow, maybe 45. So she would have been.
She was 76, I think. I'm not sure.
Yeah, she would have been in her 70s.
Yeah, she was in her 70s. She wasn't 80.
That's something.
And the next year, my grandfather died. I'm like, oh, Lord. So those were my rocks. My rocks.
Right. So you called your grandmother Mama.
Mama.
And you called your great-grandmother Grandma?
Grandmama.
Yes.
And call my mother by name.
Yeah. Actually, that happened in my family. My great-grandmother raised my grandmother and her children. And my aunts and uncle and my mother called my great-grandmother Mama. And they called my grandmother, their mother, by her name.
My name, yeah.
Until our great-grandmother died. And then they started calling her.
Oh, really? Everybody in my
mother.
family called Mama.
Yes.
Even the ones that didn't live there.
Yeah.
They come
yeah.
visit. Hey, mama.
So she was mama to many people.
Many people, and my
Yeah.
other cousins and things, mama.
Then that's one of the attributes that she has.
Yes.
That's a
That
loving person.
That mama, she had that mama look and
Yeah.
mama feeling.
Yeah. And
Just-
that mama way of nurturing.
Yeah.
Yeah, we find that many of our African-American families.
Yes.
Real strong.
Strong women. Strong
Loving
women.
Yeah.
When she whip you though, then start something.
Yeah, that's true. That's true. I got a few.
Me too.
So, who is your favorite author? Or do you have one?
Lawrence Dunbar.
Lawrence Dunbar.
I love
Yes,
Lawrence Dunbar.
Lawrence Dunbar.
Yeah, love him, love him, love him.
Yeah, when we were at Rosenwald, we used to recite during Negro History Week or month in February. Somebody during the course of that celebration would recite Paul Laurence Dunbar in the morning. This is poem. This young man who's getting up, a boy who's getting up, and his mom is kind of telling him, "Lies, lies, best thee, Lord. Don't you know your days are
Bro. You don't get up your scamp.
That's gonna be
Trouble in this
camp."
scamp.
Yeah. Somebody every year would recite that and act that play out.
Well,
So
you know, I used to do the party all the time.
the party. That's another
I did
poem.
the party for Marion Wright Elder.
Oh my.
And she was over the children's
Yeah.
children's-
Children's Defense Fund. Yeah.
And I did it at Howard Compton Hall at Howard University.
You did. What an honor. Oh my.
And she was laying on the back seat trying to sleep, and she heard me start. She got up because I had on the clothes, you know, they wore in slavery days.
Yeah.
And I did the dialect. So
Whoa.
she just could, she said, that was so nice.
That's marvelous. That is
and
awesome.
I've done it in churches. So,
yeah.
and I used to know a few more of his poetry
Yeah.
that I would do at churches.
Yeah.
Now, I don't know how much I know now.
Yeah. I'm sure you know that. I'm sure you know that. So like in the days of Rosenwald.
Okay.
Yeah. He was introduced to us at a very young age. So you went to Rosenwald, I went to Rosenwald. Yeah. We recited the party that we did in the morning.
And then we would sing the Negro National Anthem.
Yes, we did. We did.
But we didn't have we had a month.
That's right. Negro History Month, we called it. Yeah.
We did the same thing.
Yeah, that's marvelous. Because we went to the same school, so we got the same foundation from the same teachers practically. Because one teacher taught my mother, a couple of them taught my mother.
And some of them taught my mother.
Yeah, so we got that same foundation, that same background. So now, why would a person who's interested in the history and genealogy of African Americans in Fauquier County, why would they want to read your book?
I think they would want to read it so that they themselves would write their history, their family history, or at least research it.
Yes.
And tell it to the children. It's too many people now don't know their history.
Yes.
They don't know where their parents came from. They don't even know their original names.
Yes.
But these things are so important. Leave it for your children and your grandchildren and great-grandchildren. Let it go down through the years.
Yes.
But if you don't never tell them nothing, they don't know nothing.
That's right. It's so important to know how.
And the story of Dog, I want people to read that so that they will get help for a child or sister or brother or somebody that needs help. Stop pushing it under the rug and hiding it. You're hiding it and everybody already know it.
That's true.
What's the problem? So get some help for them. Help them all you can. But if you haven't been trained, you can't help some people. You got to have some training to know how to do it.
That's true.
So you won't come off mean or won't come off wrong. So you try to do the best you can.
That's right. And then it benefits that child.
That person will be fine in a few months or something. And you want that.
Yes. And it enhances the quality of their lives.
Thank you.
And how they feel about themselves as individuals. That it gives them worth and value.
Because to me, the best thing you can have is a peace of mind.
That's true. That's absolutely true.
Yeah. And you have a peace of mind, they will have a peace of mind.
That's right.
Everybody around them will have a peace of mind.
That's right. And things have become.
Mm-hmm.
And in terms of our genealogy, it's just important that we explain to one another who we are.
Thank you.
And our background and where we come from and why. Because in many cases, in some cases, especially in a small community like Fauquier, back in the day, people were attached to relatives and didn't know it.
I know. Do you know, if you don't tell them, they could end up marrying a relative and don't know it.
That's right, a close relative.
Because people, well, we don't talk about that. Well, everybody already know it. You just will talk about it.
That's true.
Everybody in town know it.
Yeah,
Small community.
that's true.
Tell
That's
their
true.
children who their relatives are. I'm going, when we move here, I'm going to be talking to some of mine that don't have a clue
Yes.
about their uncles, their aunts, their
Right.
grandparents. They don't know
Yeah.
because nobody told them.
Yes, and it's so important.
It's very important.
Especially to get the relationship correct, because in my family, I have cousins who call me auntie, and they call me Aunt Prissy, which is my nickname. We want to apologize. We're back, and we want to apologize for any technical difficulties that caused us to pause for a while. As I'm talking to Ms. Tibbs, we were in a conversation about whether or not she'll want to publish again. And Ms. Tibbs tells us that she is close to 90 years and that she's not particularly interested. But my thought is she published this in her 80s, and that's a marvelous thing.
Thank you.
That at 88 years old, you were able to sit down to gather important information, valuable information about what it was like growing up in Fauquier County in your neighborhood, and to recall all that information and to put it down in a book. I think that's a marvelous thing for today. And I'm honored, truly honored to be able to call you my friend.
Oh, yeah.
My new friend.
I always call people my young friends.
Yes. And to be able to sit down and to talk with you.
It's a pleasure to do it.
Yes.
It really is.
So is there anything that you want to say to the audience before we go?
I want you to catch a hold of what, not so much that I did it. Let's see you do it.
All right.
Write your heritage. Write down so your children and grandchildren, nieces and nephews can read. And when it comes to the story of my friend Doc, see who you can help with that has challenges. Don't tell me you don't know nobody that has them, because we all know somebody that has challenges. See if you can give them a helping hand.
Amen. So have a helping heart. So again, we thank Ms. Tibbs for joining us. And we thank you, audience, for your patience. And we thank you for joining us as well. And if anyone is interested in this book, The Hollow, the Hill, the Mountain, and My Friend Dar, you can order a copy by calling 301-873-0931. 301-873-0931. Thank you. Where to go higher.